All right, let's get into it. I did the 13-inch rack tom yesterday, the solid mahogany, and now I've got the 16-inch floor tom that goes with that kit. So I did the same thing. I tuned the bottom head up as high as it could go, like way up, to where I felt like any more tension could potentially be damaging the lugs or the head. Find out what that pitch was, and then I tuned the batter head a whole step lower. So it's super duper high. It's a 16 by 16. Obviously not a sound that I would choose to use on any specific situation, but that is a starting point. I know how high it can go, and I know now that the heads are properly seated, although these heads have been on for a while. UV2 on the top, G1 coated on the bottom. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did yesterday and just adjust it down 1/8 of a turn on every lug, top and bottom, and just try to find some spots where it opens up. I know, as a reference, the 13 on this kit yesterday sounded really nice at a C. So I'm going to shoot for an F probably, because I also have an 18. I'm going to try to do octaves with the 13 and the 18 to have that be C and C. So I'll see what this sounds like at a G or an F, somewhere in that range. So we've got fourths and fifths. So first step is just take it down, 1/8 of a turn all the way around, top and bottom. I'm going to maintain that ratio. This is loose. Yep. 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Bit of a pain in the butt to do the bottom, but it is what it is. 6, 7. When in doubt, count. I know it's an 8-lug drum, so I will count just to make sure I don't miss one or double. Still super jacked. It's kind of fun and interesting, but definitely not the ultimate sound for this drum here. Anyone log in if you have any questions as I'm messing around, just let me know. I want to change this camera so it's just the front. Instead of having it jump around. So now it's currently at, what are we at here? We are at somewhere between a D and a D sharp 3rd octave. So I've got to go down like a minor 6th. So another 1/8 of a turn, all the way around. Still pretty much completely choked out, but gotta go through the process. maybe. What causes the boing sound? That's a good question. Could be a bunch of different things. Usually, well, I don't know. Let me think about it while I'm tuning here, because I've got a couple options for you. Mic popped off. Usually I can tune out the boing thing. If the heads are too close together, sometimes I can do that. So maybe try loosening the batter head gradually until it's completely loose and see if that improves it, and just find a spot where it sounds nice and feels nice. Or do the same thing with the bottom head. Loosen it, tighten it, try to get a little bit more separation between them pitch-wise. Another thing you can do is take a few cotton balls and like flatten them out so they look like little pads, or if you have like those round makeup pads, and toss them inside the drum, like put 2 or 3 inside, and see if that helps. What's happening is there's reflections from the sound waves, and they're kind of smashing into each other and causing this infinite feedback loop. Another option would be, which is a little bit more intensive, if the inside of the drum is like lacquered, which I don't think both County drums are lacquered, but if they're real glossy, you can take some real fine sandpaper and rough up the inside of the shell so it's not so smooth. Or you could take like a strip of, like cut a piece of t-shirt into a strip the length of the lugs and connect them underneath the lugs on the inside, so it's like a flag kind of hanging in there, not touching the drum heads or anything. That will do it as well. Just got to break up those sound waves from bouncing off each other. This is sounding kind of cool. So it's right at the C where the rack tom is. So I know that's at least a fourth too high. Does sound nice though, so that would be like a bebop option if I had to force this kit to do that. It's really kind of singing. All right, let's take it, keep going down, another eighth. So we're getting down to the A, getting closer to one option for where I want it to be, see how it does. But tuning the bottom of the floor tom. And I'm probably doing a little bit more than an eighth, just because I know I need to get it down lower. So I'm about to an eighth and a quarter. Yeah, that's an A. So that's still a whole step higher than what would even be the high option for me. It's singing though. It's definitely singing. So we're getting, this is definitely a sweet spot range. So I know B, probably B is about as high, or C, it did sound good in the C. So that bebop C. See if this gets us down. It's like a G sharp already. So one more turn on the bottom should put it to the G. Yeah, right on the money. There's a G. So that should play nice with this 13 now. Definitely cool. It's sustaining a lot, which I may need to address, but let's just try to get down to the F. So another quarter and eighth of a turn. Should take it down a whole step. Feels like it's getting loose under the tension rods. All right, there's the F. All right, I'm digging it. Let's just see what some gel does. So 1 gel. There's a piece of hair on it. That's gross. Try 2 gels on the top and 1 gel on the bottom. Just has a lot of tone. It's also in a small room, so it get a lot of buildup. In a bigger room, it won't be a problem, but I'll take the gels off. So the F is cool, we know it's good. The G is cool, know it's good. I don't see how low it can go. If I just do the top, that should take it down to an E. No, that's the E. If I was just using 2 toms, the 13 and the 16, this would be an option for a tuning with just that combo, because it gives you like a minor 6, which is a cool sound. Let's take the bottom head down another turn. I think we're kind of getting close to the bottom here, because it's feeling like the tension is getting pretty loose in some of these. I should be able to get a C out of this drum. If not, that might mean the heads are done for. Let's see what we got. Pretty beefy. That is a switch between a D and a D sharp. Let's go down again. Definitely getting to the low. Like that one's pretty loose. Some of these have like barely any tension on them. So there's a D. That's pretty low. It's not going to work when I also have an 18 to get into the mix, but if it was just the only drum and I wanted a really deep, powerful sound, that's kind of it. So I think now I'm going to be squeaking out whatever's left via the bottom head. Because the top head is pretty much as low as it can go. I do want to get it down to the C, because that's my usual spot for a single floor tom of this size. That's a C sharp. I don't think there's any more room on top to go down. Yeah, it's kind of flapping out. So I've got to do it via the bottom head. So this should do it. Yeah, it's starting to get growly. No muffling. This is wide open. UV2 on top. G1 coated on the bottom. The bottom head is old. I think I need to change it. Both the heads are old, which I think is why the lower tunings are being a little bit more testy. That's a C sharp. So I want to try to squeak out another half step out of this. You just have to find the lugs that still have tension on them. Phew, this is a struggle. Well, there it is. We got the C. So when I get out into the lower tensions, I know right here is a spot that got wrinkly. So I had to put a little bit more tension on these and not touch them, and then try to find some other tension rods that had a little bit more tension. Try to finesse it. There's still a little bit of a wrinkle right there, but I don't think you can hear it. So I just had to finesse it to get that C out of it, which is usually as low as I will go. Some drums, some heads can go down to a B, even lower. So what I did is there's that one spot where the head was getting a little bit wrinkly. That's where I put the gel. That will tend to get rid of any kind of distortion in the tone. So that's definitely the bottom of this drum. So we got, what do we get? We got an octave out of it, believe it or not. I could force it up to a C, which is usually the high tuning of a 14 for me, if I'm going for that real jazzy melodic sound. So the drum has a lot of range. The lower range is not as, doesn't go as low as I can with some other drums, which again, I think it's because the heads are old. These batter heads are probably a couple years old. Bottom heads, I think, are the originals. So with fresh heads, usually I can finagle a little extra low range out of it. But that's where it would live if I was just doing 13, 16. This is the matching solid mahogany that goes with that 13 I was tuning yesterday. So it's a thick semi-solid, which means what Chris did was he cut staves of the wood, but big staves, probably 6-inch staves, but thin. So it's a stave shell, but a thin stave shell that he then glued plywood reinforcement rings inside of it. So he called it semi-solid, even though technically that is a scientific term that means not what it is, but it's a solid shell reinforced with maple rings. So it's dense, it's thick, so it's very beefy and loud. I love it at this tuning, but I want to get it back up to that F. So then there's room for the 18 to take this roll. So let's go up, quarter turn. So believe it or not, that's already up past the F. It's just a little sharp, so let me just bring the batter head down a touch. There we go. There's back to an F. So from this point, now that I've got it ballpark where I want it, because I've done so much rapid tuning in the past half hour, I'll go around and make sure all the tension rods are back to even. Now that I know that generally where they need to be, top and bottom, and just make sure we're back to that major second interval. Probably some of them have gotten way out of whack, but it sounds pretty good. Um, you know, I don't have any quantifiable evidence that seating the heads does anything, other than it will prevent them from detuning as you play. I do it, I've always done it. It's very effective on old drums because the edges are crazy. The shells are usually really thick and not perfectly round. But with new precisely made shells and with really good quality drum heads these days, especially the Evans stuff, Remo, maybe it's not the case, I haven't used Remo in years. In a pinch, I just put the head on and tune it where I want it, and it sounds good and it stays there. So I always do it out of habit. I don't think it does any harm. But I don't think you have to. I think it's more about a good quality head and a good quality shell that's got a perfectly flat bearing edge. If in a perfect world, I would tune the drums, I would change the heads, tune them up pretty high, seat them by pressing down on them, and leave them for a day if I could, overnight. Again, that's just an old habit. I don't know if it's 100% necessary, but it's just what I do. So that's the F. Is the G better? Let's find out. I took that bottom head too far. All right, there's the G. I think the G with this kit, it's kind of a more melodic kit. It fits better. It feels a little bit more jazzy because I'm going to be using this drum mostly for recording, and it's usually more on the rock side of things. I'll probably, and those songs are in the key of E if you're talking about guitar players. So the E will probably be where it ends up living. But that's a nice sound. I think I'm going to take it back to the F just to get it back over to the studio. That's nice. There's a G. Oh, you've got those Akashi drums are amazing. 14, 13, 16, man, yeah. I would go C, C, octaves, and then wherever the 24 sits below that. I don't remember if 24s can go down to another C, maybe a G or an F. That's a good place to be because you get a big beefy 16 and a nice kind of melodic 13. there's the F. So F is cool too. You might want to try that on your 16. Got an unknown question here. What's your opinion on Sleep Token's drummer? Fantastic player, very interesting band, very creative approach to that style, and just the way they present their product is pretty awesome. I appreciate the creative vision of that band, and bringing some of that kind of R&B fusion chops to metal, whatever you want to call it, is really cool too. So yeah, great band, great drummer. Yeah, that's where this drum's going to start. So then when I do get set up to do a session, I'll assess, what's the key of the song, what's the floor tom need to be? Does it need to be kind of melodic, John Bonham kind of brighter sounding, or does it need to be super thuddy? And then I'll adjust. But if I know I'm starting at a good spot where it's a sweet spot, I know the range. So if the song's in E, I can take down a half step easily. If it's in G, I can take it up a step easily. If it's in C, I'll keep it at G. If I have the 18, if I don't have the 18, maybe this goes way down to the to the C. So I kind of know my range. It's an octave, so I can kind of force this drum to do a lot of stuff. It is a different timbre once you get above where it's at now, this F. It turns more into big band, jazz kind of sounds. And below this, it gets kind of thuddier and punchier. Right now, it's right in the middle, where it kind of does both. So I can kind of do all the styles as it is right now. And that's how to tune a floor tom. Any last questions here before I hop off? I guess I'll do the 18 again. I don't know if I'll get to it tomorrow, but I do have the 18. So then that'll mean all the toms have been explored and found their happy spot, and then I can do the bass drum. Because I just changed the bass drum heads to 24 for the first time in years. It still had old logo Evans heads on it. That's what kind of inspired it. Like, let me change the heads on the bass drum and let me make sure that the toms are happy. I didn't want to get new heads right away. I think they're still fine. They've been used a lot, but not abusively. So that's that. Time to roll out. Any other comments I can make here? There's getting a little bit of that basketball sound. I'm starting to hear a little bit of it. But it's not bothering me, so I'm not going to mess with it. But if that got more prominent, I would probably keep tweaking the tuning a bit more, and then maybe try the cotton ball trick or putting some cloth between a couple of the lugs. What are the best microphones to use when recording drums? Tough question to answer. Depends on budget, but so the best microphones are whatever you can afford. Push comes to shove, a bunch of Shure SM57s will get the job done on everything. extra bass drum, snare drum, toms, hi-hat, overhead, rooms. So if you don't have anything, I would get a few SM57s and the Shure Beta 52 bass drum mic, and then expand from there. I'm using Earthworks in this studio, very pricey but very nice, high quality mics. Mainly because they're low profile and they're clean sounding and they're natural. In the studio where I actually charge people money for me to record, I have a mix of all kinds of stuff. Mojave mics, really high-end, beautiful mics, Austrian Audio, Shure's SE ribbon mics, the clip-on Sennheiser 904s are great for toms. Solomon sub kicks. So I've got a ton of AKG D12 VR. So many options. So it's really impossible to say what's the best. What's available? What can you afford? I think if you have a decent dynamic bass drum mic like the Shure Beta 52A, a decent dynamic snare drum mic like the Shure SM57, and then you could say, well, put them on your toms as well. So SM57s for your snare and toms, and then a decent quality large diaphragm condenser to use as an overhead would be the first upgrade. Shure KSM32s are great. The SM27s are great. I mean, there's tons, but a large diaphragm condenser, just above the kit here, or if you can get two of them, boom, boom, you can make amazing sounding records. Then it just comes down to what do your drums sound like, what does your room sound like, and then how do you sound, most importantly. Yeah, try the C and F. It's a little bit higher, especially if you need to project. It's going to be on the higher side. So they'll respond and have a nice bright sound that cuts but still feel kind of warm. If you go too low, unless you're mic'd up and have good monitoring, it can just kind of, you can be fighting the drums if you take them down too low. You could probably take the 13 down to an A if you need like a beefier sound, but I would try C and F, see how that feels. All right, that's it. Ciao. Have a good one. I don't know if I'll be back in tomorrow, but probably Friday.